This week in games, we talk Overwatch 2 dropping its PvE mode, a huge update for the Xbox situation, predicting the PlayStation Showcase, and the review of Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. This is the Two Penny Gamescast. What's poppin', players? Welcome back to the Two Penny Gamescast, episode 148. I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my good friend and co-host. Say hello to the people, Connor Elliott.
My name is Connor Elliott. I'm the co-host of the Two Penny Gamescast show, and I am saying hello.
I like that one. That one's new.
Yeah.
Connor, how's your week been, my friend?
Busy as hell. I haven't been able to play
as hell, he says.
as much Tears of the Kingdom as I wanted to.
No, not nearly as much. Well,
and I had to play some of it doing Donkey Kong, that lame game.
Well, since Tears has been out, you've played Donkey Kong?
I have, because I was getting tires, and I could have played Tears of the Kingdom, but I was like, that's not as fun of a game to play on mobile as opposed to the Donkey Kong game. And
Really, you think so?
Knew I had, yeah, because Donkey Kong, it's a platformer. Platformers, you usually press A and X, and that's about it. Sometimes you hold down A.
About it.
Yeah. And Tears of the Kingdom, I was going to be playing for the rest of that week, so I was like, okay, I'll at least get a little bit farther in Donkey Kong.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Makes sense. Well, you will be able to share more thoughts on Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom here in a little bit, because at the end of this episode, we're going to bring Phil in here. I'm going to drop out, and you two are going to review Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. But of course, if you were watching on the live stream at twitch.tv/2pennygames, you would already know that because we record things out of order. And you would have seen that review happen live every Sunday at 4 p.m. Central Time, running to about 7-ish or so. You know, however long it takes us to get through all of our talking points and so forth. But this is the Two Penny Gamescast. We come to you every Monday, 8 a.m. Central Time, youtube.com/@2pennygames, and mainstream podcast services of your choice. We're on the Spotifys, we're on the Apples, we're on the Google Podcasts. Please drop a review, drop a like, drop a follow, drop a comment on all possible platforms, including TikTok and Twitter, which you can find down in the description below. This is the Two Penny Gamescast, like I said, where every week me and Connor come to you with the new nerdy news you need to know. We each come to you with two topics, 2 pennies, if you will, and we give you our 2 cents on them. This week, we've got quite a few things to come through. It's that lovely thing, Connor, where we had a lovely podcast last week. It was nice. It was casual. We talked about a lot of things. We prophesized a lot of things, and then it came out, and an hour later, it was immediately irrelevant because of our first topic here, which is your first penny of the day. So I'm going to go ahead and jump it over to you. Talk to me about what's going on over here.
Fortunately, we have yet to be able to shut up about Xbox and their acquisition of Activision Blizzard because there was another update, this time in favor of Activision. Xbox, Activision, Blizzard, whatever the company's going to be named going forward.
all of it.
Yeah. Got an article from IGN here from Brian Dinsdale and Matt Purslow. Xbox, Activision, Blizzard deal approved by European Commission, saying it represents a significant improvement for cloud gaming. Very far cry from what was said elsewhere. Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard has been approved by the European Commission. The approval brings Microsoft's historic deal one step closer to completion. The European Commission announced on its website that it has approved the proposed acquisition under the EU merger regulation. The EC reached similar conclusions at the UK's Competition and Markets Authority, the CMA, that the deal would not harm the console market but could harm cloud gaming, but was satisfied with Microsoft's proposed remedies for these concerns. So, after the fail of Redfall, at least they got a win somewhere. And that's not the only win that they got. We got a couple other developments on this. IGN once again, this time from Rebecca Valentine. China approves Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard, one of the other big boys. China's state administration has approved Microsoft's attempted $69 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard, joining a total of 37 regulators, including the EU and Japan. The news was first surfaced today being May 19th, on Seeking Alpha via a Deal Reporter item, and has since been confirmed via a statement from a Microsoft spokesperson sent to IGN. Quote, China's unconditional clearance of our acquisition of Activision Blizzard follows clearance decisions from jurisdictions such as the European Union and Japan, bringing the total to 37 countries representing more than 2 billion people. The acquisition, combined with our recent commitments to the European Commission, will empower consumers worldwide to play more games on more devices. This news comes just days after the European Commission did it. That's aside from the point. And we're not done with Microsoft news. Microsoft's just clouding the news weeks. And they even made some on their little news site, Microsoft news site. Xbox debuts PC games to NVIDIA GeForce Now members beginning today. This is from Sarah Bond, the corporate vice president of Xbox, saying, "We're thrilled to share that starting today, NVIDIA GeForce Now Cloud gaming members in the UK, the US, the European Union, and around the world can stream Gears 5 on May 25th, Gears 5, and will be able to enjoy fan favorites Deathloop, Grounded, and Pentiment. This is just the beginning stage of our forward-thinking 10-year partnership with NVIDIA to make PC games from Xbox Game Studios and Bethesda available to the GeForce Now members. Together, we're accelerating access to players around the globe by letting them choose how and when they game. The initial slate of launch games spans our catalog, providing players high-quality, immersive titles with a little something for everyone, single-player campaigns, story-driven experiences, and opportunities to play with friends and family through multiplayer. Following this initial release, we'll continue to add more content from our portfolio on a regular basis to ensure players can always find a new and exciting game. News and release dates will be shared via GFN Thursday updates. Members will be able to stream PC hits from Xbox Game Studios and Bethesda purchased through Steam or Epic Game Store for eligible games on PC, Mac, Shield TV, and Android devices, or by visiting play.geforcenow.com on Chromebook and iOS Safari. Our teams are also working to bring support for games purchased through the Microsoft Store in the coming months. This is the first in a series of partnerships we're activating to make our PC games available to players globally through a variety of cloud gaming services, starting with NVIDIA GeForce Now and with Boosteroid, Ubitus, EE, and Enware in the future. We remain committed to releasing current titles from Xbox Game Studios and Bethesda and future Activision Blizzard PC games once Microsoft's acquisition closes. Delivering our content through more partners and cloud gaming services puts players at the center, empowering them to play the games they want and with the people they want on the devices they want. NVIDIA has been an outstanding partner for Team Xbox over the years, and we can't wait to see their devoted fans discover and play their next favorite PC games from Xbox.
That was a lot. Yeah. So to summarize, the European Union, which I think oversees the UK and the CMA or something like that, or at least like has an overstanding of it, and China both approve the Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard. So, I mean, that's a lot of great news for Microsoft. I think at this point, it's clear that that the deal goes through. When the UK had blocked the deal, there was a lot of talk of like, oh, it's over. And when we covered that piece of news, I was like, it's not over, but that's certainly a roadblock, and it will continue to be a roadblock until Microsoft's appeal happens, or until they finally get the UK to reverse their decision in some way, shape, or form. And certainly this extra pressure from all of these other countries is certainly going to help in that. And if not, this is enough of a win. You have America, you have China, you have the European Union as a whole. You don't have the UK, which is unfortunate, but you've also got Japan and all these other countries saying, yeah, that's okay with us. So, they're going to have to go through some loopholes to get their games to UK players in some way or fashion. But I think by now, it's a clear done deal. Like, I really definitely think that, like, yeah, they're going to go through with this. They're going to commit. There's no point in this where Xbox, I think, backs out at this point. I could be wrong, but you don't throw up $70 billion and just casually walk away from it. Now, it's been a hard fight to get to this point, and Jesus Christ, it just keeps going and going and going. But at this rate, I think in terms of what happens with this acquisition, I think it's happening. I think it's a done deal.
Yep, and not a moment too soon, because Xbox really needs the help after their failure with like Redfall, not really having any big things coming out in the future here. They needed a win, and they finally got one. So,
well, they've still got things like Starfield and Forza, and
they do. Starfield being maybe tenuous because Bethesda hasn't had the most goodwill in recent years, and this is the chance for them to gain it back. But unfortunately, we can see the tail end of that, which is them not getting that goodwill back.
It's definitely a question mark. Is Starfield is definitely the question mark. I think Forza, of course, will do what Forza does.
Fine.
And then, from there, it's like, what happens with Hellblade? What happens with Avowed and Outer Worlds 2 and the rest of, the Xbox catalog? And how does Halo Infinite continue to exist in this landscape? These are a lot of questions for Xbox, and I think they're doing the best they can to answer these questions. One, with the Phil Spencer interview with Kinda Funny that we covered the other week, and two, like, it's just that they had so much bad news back to back to back to back. They had, all of the layoffs and firings. They had the CMA blocking their acquisition, and then they had Redfall all back to back. If Redfall had happened in the middle of a couple of great games, if they had gotten a couple of great games under their belt with, Starfield and Forza and Hellblade and all of these things, then it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But it's because Redfall was the first one out the gate, first party studio from the Bethesda acquisition. Everything else was, also landed on PlayStation and so forth. So Redfall was the first one post acquisition that was an Xbox first party game, and it just didn't do what it needed to do. And it's unfortunate that one caught the fire first, because I think sometimes I come off a little hard on Xbox on this show, because I said it before we started recording, but I had gone back and I was listening to a lot of the Game of the Year podcasts from a number of different sources and so forth. But I had forgot, Xbox has had a couple of good years in the past with they started strong with this generation of consoles. Halo Infinite launched and was positive, very positive at launch. We forget that. Psychonauts 2 released to a lot of great acclaim and I think sold better than it ever was going to on its own, as opposed to being available on Xbox. We've had things like Pentiment. We've had things like Hi-Fi Rush. Xbox does collect W's. They just don't collect as many W's, and the W's aren't as big as some of their competition. But they do good work. And so I'm excited for Xbox to turn this messaging around of this complication and so forth. And I think a lot of it has to do with this NVIDIA stuff that they continue doing, the cloud gaming side of things, which of course is how they got in trouble with the UK and why the UK blocked their acquisition, because they're going to be too powerful, putting out too many games and controlling a burgeoning market, as they put it. And I guess there's a point to that, but at the same time, they're doing all the right things. How they are approaching cloud gaming and cloud streaming is the way you're supposed to approach it, step by step, iterative, and in a way to where we can build that technology out in a way to where it works so that people will actually support it outside of, say, and support it with games, outside of, say, a Google Stadia, which put it out there, didn't support it like it needed to, messaging was awful, and it didn't have any games. Xbox is doing it the right way, where they're slowly rolling this product out in a way, and I bet you more than anything, Connor, in 10 years, we'll be playing Xbox games on our phones via streaming. You're muted.
That remains to be seen, because streaming technology is not there yet. And will Xbox be around then? Who knows?
No, they'll be around. They're going to be around. They're not going anywhere.
I saw an interesting conversation, though, conveniently, on Twitter recently, which was people reflecting on the days when the Xbox One was announced and thinking to themselves, they really just tanked themselves from that day onward.
Did you see that same montage video where it was every time they said the word television? Man,
so much.
Man, it was bad, man.
They misread that.
Yeah, they did not have their eyes on the field. But at the same time, we as consumers didn't know what technology was going to be today. We as consumers were foolish for having that approach, but it's just the fact, the timing of that message was wrong, and the way they executed on that message was wrong. Because arguably now, these consoles are more of an entertainment system than ever before. Take your PS5, for example. It's games and media right there, front and center, the big two things, the big two words on the thing. Xbox was in some ways ahead of the curve, but the people weren't ready for it.
They just didn't do it in a good way. They didn't.
That's
It was horrible marketing and PR, and
Very
they
bad.
dominated Xbox 360 those years, the console war era. They were the king for the
In
longest
terms of
time.
conversation, for sure.
Yeah, but then they just dropped down. It was
Yeah.
PlayStation all the way.
Yep. Yeah. That last leg of that 360 era, you started seeing some weak stuff happening, and then yeah, for sure they lost that entire Xbox One generation, which was just such a shame. But I think they're poising themselves in a good position these days. It's just a matter of like, we just need these goddamn dominoes to fall. And we've been talking about these dominoes for so long. At some point, like, and we're all just tired of talking about it. We just want to see it happen. And it just they haven't executed on the vision. They keep pitching us a vision that they're not executing on. And it's just a matter of time before it starts coming out. Or they fail spectacularly. And I'm very excited to see what all happens there. And speaking of failing spectacularly, Connor, we're going to move right into topic number 2. Again, your second penny of the day. Oh, boy. Man, oh, man. Who could have predicted this? But you go ahead and grab it, my friend. Let's get it going.
Ooh, well, I love when I see Overwatch fail, when I see Blizzard fail. I love it. I won't lie to you guys. I'm biased in this regard. I really do just smile whenever I hear these stories. But here's
That's
Windows
fucked
Central.
up. That's fucked up.
I would say it is, but do you know what's more messed up than that?
Driving a woman to suicide?
I think that's an easy one right there, but this is from Windows Central. I think I already said that. Brendan Lowry. Overwatch 2 cancels promised co-op PvE mode. Will be worked into live service. Quote, we can't deliver on that original version for PvE as that was shown in 2019. So going on to the story, what you need to know. I like breaking it down here. A new Overwatch 2 developer live stream, Blizzard announced that its originally planned PvE campaign mode with hero talents and long-term progression has been canceled. Instead, the studio plans to incorporate various forms of canon and very not canon co-op content into Overwatch 2 live service roadmap. The first batch of PvE co-op story missions is scheduled to become available in Overwatch 2 Season 6, which is expected to begin on April 15th, 2023. Game director Aaron Keller says that by releasing co-op content this way, players can look forward to it, quote, more often and with more variety than we had originally announced. And there was an update to this story. Yeah, right. Responding to the community's confusion about whether or not Overwatch 2 PvE has been canceled completely, executive producer Jared Neas had clarified on Twitter that while the original version for co-op has been scrapped, fans can still expect, quote, a lot of great PvE content moving forward. A clarification that I wanted to make is that while we made the decision to cut hero mode plus talents, we have a lot of great PvE content coming this year, wrote Neas. Big story missions, new cinematics, co-op events, and single-player hero mastery missions are all on the way.
Oof.
Yeah.
Big oof. We can take it from there. Yeah, that sucks. That's not a good move. That's unfortunate. I'm sure first off, I'm sure a lot of the devs that were working real hard on that co-op PvE stuff are really disappointed that they just couldn't get it together. I'm sure a lot of the Overwatch players are very rightfully so very mad because you shut down Overwatch 1 for this. This is why you did it. You know, you did the big logo change. You put a number on it. You stopped development on Overwatch as a live service game for like a year and a half, 2 years, so that you could do this. And the fruits of those labors are a fraction of what you promised. And that's unfortunate. That hurts. And it's honestly one that I don't know if Overwatch can come back from.
We have friends that play Overwatch. They're big Overwatch fans. And conveniently, one of these friends was talking about it. A friend of the show, Glenn, was talking about how his insider knowledge of the subject was that a lot of this was from Activision screwing over Blizzard, which, you know, he had gone into specific details. I cannot recall them, and I cannot find the source for it right now. But if that is the case, that makes sense. Not that it really matters at the end of the day, because this company sucks, and what happens to them is really of no concern at this point to me, and I think to most other people. But it is
harsh.
just
That's harsh.
it really is. I am harsh against
really
Overwatch.
harsh.
Yes, but they announced it and then they didn't do it. This was all where their eggs were, and then they just messed it up.
I mean, it
built
sucks. It definitely sucks. It's a big L for Blizzard and for Overwatch fans and developers alike. And I wish that we could just say, oh, but the game is still great. Oh, this, that, and the third. But in all reality, it's just the simple fact that like you killed all progress of this game. Like you killed it. Like it was going strong. You were at your peak. Like the Overwatch League was moving. Like they were putting up big numbers, and you know, the game had a huge base following it. Like I'm talking like not to the size of like a Fortnite or whatever, but it was competitive in the space for sure. Like people were watching and seeing what it was doing, and talk about a game that like came out and just took the world by storm, and to just hit that big pause button on it, and the fruits of that labor just not coming around hurts. It hurts bad. And you know, Overwatch 2 quote unquote came out last year, and it was just really just a kind of cosmetic update. You put a 2 on it, and then you took away one of the playable like positions on the field. So like everyone just kind of sat there and went, well, now this is less than what we had before, and you promised to add more, and that's really unfortunate. Not enough characters were added, not enough maps were added, not enough modes were added, nothing substantial enough to justify all of this. The only good thing I can see about it is, well, now it's free to play.
Sure, that'll bring in the players,
and then took away you know, progression in a way that makes sense, and now it's all on a battle pass, and nobody likes it, and everybody's upset. You were reading it, it's season 6. I didn't even know it had progressed that far and that much, which I think tells you just how little has been in these different seasons and these different content drops. Like this game, it's just it's on life support, man, and I don't know if we could ever revive it and get it back to where it was, or even get it back to being competitive in the space again.
There is one angle that can make it that way again, and it's if Microsoft acquires Activision Blizzard and they get their tendrils in it and they mess with it. But
by
knows,
then,
really?
again, like you're gonna see, it's gonna take the nature of game development. It's gonna take so long for that to turn around and for that to turn into something. Like I just don't see. I don't see how they can turn this message around. Mm-hmm. It's possible, but I don't see how, especially under new management. I think it's more than likely that we are watching the beginning of the end for Overwatch, which sucks because it's a good game. Like it doesn't deserve that. Its fan base was huge and really loved it, but that's the unfortunate nature of these things.
It's the way the cookie crumbles.
Connor, moving on to our third topic of the day. GTA 6 might be coming out as soon as next year. This is my first penny of the day, pulling an IGN article, again from Rebecca Valentine. Publisher Take-Two Interactive may have just teased the release window for the next entry in the biggest gaming franchise of all time, Grand Theft Auto 6. It could be on the way as soon as next year. In a press release issued alongside its yearly earnings report, Take-Two shared projections for the coming years, including a massive projection for fiscal years 2025 and 2026. For fiscal 2025 will begin in April of 24. Looking ahead, fiscal 2025 is a highly anticipated year for our company, the release states. Quote, for the last several years, we have been preparing our business to release an incredibly robust pipeline of projects that we believe will take our company to even greater levels of success. In fiscal 2025, we expect this new era by launching several groundbreaking titles that we believe will set new standards in our industry and enable us to achieve over $8 billion in net bookings and over $1 billion in adjusted unrestricted operating cash flow. We expect to sustain this momentum by delivering even higher levels of operating results in fiscal 2026 and beyond. Now, Connor, they don't name Grand Theft Auto. They don't say Grand Theft Auto. But what the hell else could they be talking about than Grand Theft Auto, you know? GTA 5 their big money maker, making $1 billion in like 3 days or whatever the hell it made, continues to just drop content pack after content pack after content pack, and Grand Theft Auto Online still relevant even past their other big release being Red Dead Redemption 2. Like, all right, GTA 6, it's coming, and it's coming soon.
Yeah, they don't really have any other option because I mean, it's not like they're going to do another season of GTA 5 online or whatever form that would take.
I mean, they could.
It's because it's not. You'd think it'd be tapped out by now, but they keep on doing more things. But
They keep doing it.
I think they're still. I think now that ideas may be running dry or they want something new and people are craving GTA 6, they want to take advantage of that because this is going to make tons of money. And so it makes sense. That's the thing they're raring, to make them all this money, to make their game company get even bigger than it already is.
For sure.
Well,
and then when they talk about, they've got a pipeline of projects coming out. I mean, that could be expansions that are already in the pipeline for GTA 6 to keep it alive and going throughout years. I stated, I believe it was on this last episode of the Piggy Bank during the GQ 100 greatest games of all time. When GTA 5 landed on that list, I was like, well, listen, GTA 5, in my opinion, started the live service trend, where it was constantly releasing free updates and free content packs for nothing. Like, it just kept doing it and doing it and doing it again, and we never really got a paid DLC in any type of real form in GTA 5. Now, some would say, well, we wanted single-player DLC, and that never came, and that's unfortunate. But, in terms of multiplayer, they kept that beast well-fed for many, many, many years, and it's still there. We're still getting updates for it, and it made them so much money, so much stupid money, or else they wouldn't have kept doing it. And clearly, because Red Dead Redemption 2 Online didn't hit nearly as well as that did, so clearly they are having big expectations for their next version of GTA Online, whatever that holds. And yeah, like, just get ready for a huge conversation about it. Lots of talk and lots of this, that, and the third. And I'm very curious as to see what it'll take form. Connor, when do you think they start talking about GTA 6?
Maybe the end of this year, nearing the end of it in preparation for next year.
Well, and we're about to talk about it here in a minute. We do have that PlayStation showcase coming.
But I don't think they do it there.
It
doesn't make sense.
I agree with you. Even though GTA has released a lot of like announcements and stuff tied to PlayStation, them being tied to next gen consoles. They announced that with I believe it was the PlayStation 5 like reveal event or the showcase or whatever, the big one that had like Miles Morales and God of War Ragnarok in it. DMC 5 I think was in there as well. And so like there is history, there's precedence, there's a lineage there. But I mean, it's GTA. Like, you can do that whenever the hell you want on your own platform. Like, you don't even need to make a big spectacle out of it. You can just drop it. Like, here's a trailer on YouTube. There you go. That's all you need. Here's an announcement in a tweet, which is, I think, how Red Dead Redemption 2 happened. My memory is a little like hazy of that now, but I think they just like dropped a picture on Twitter and said with a big number 2 on it, and people were like, "Oh my god, it's coming!" So they could do something very similar with GTA 6. But yeah, I don't. Maybe you see it at Summer Games Fest. Maybe you see it at the Game Awards. I don't know. But at the same time, they don't need to talk to anybody. They don't need to be on anybody's stage. They don't need to be on their own stage. GTA 6 is going to make $1 billion easy. And not even really sweat about it, just off of the name alone. The game doesn't even have to be good.
Yeah, the real question is how long am I going to once again have to deal with the stupid discourse of dumb GTA fans bothering the hell out of me.
You're such a hater for no reason.
See, Overwatch, I have a good reason to hate. This one, I understand. I'm you with Breath of the Wild.
Well, first of all, no, because I don't hate Breath of the Wild. First of all, I'm just a critic of it, and I would never go so far as to say it's a bad game. You, however, have multiple times called Grand Theft Auto bad games, and I don't understand why. They're great games.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe this one will be something worth playing for me. If it plays the same way as GTA 5, maybe it'll jump out even earlier than I didn't jump out early with GTA 5. I gave it I played it for a while.
You did some numbers. You did some numbers on that, for sure. Yeah.
But, Yeah.
I just don't
Who
understand.
knows?
I don't even understand why you don't like it. Like, it just seems
C-Tab?
like your type of game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I thought you were about to ask. I don't see why you hate it, and I sometimes don't know myself some days. But not liking it, that's a different conversation, because I have many reasons to not like it.
All right. More power to you, my friend. But yeah, personally, I'm excited. Sure, I'll take some more GTA. I'll play around with some multiplayer and stuff in that, and have a good time with that. But you know, it definitely won't be like the old days for me because I'm not 15 anymore. So you know, it'll definitely be. I'll play the campaign. I'll have a good time. I'll play some multiplayer for a couple of weeks, and then I'll be done. And then I'll check out and move on to the next thing, like I usually do with most things these days. So Connor, let's go ahead and move right on to topic number 4, my second penny of the day. And this is where we're going to have some fun, ladies and gentlemen. It's fun time. We're going to have some
We never have fun on the show.
We never have fun on the show. Now we will. There is, wow, that does not fit the scene at all. But anyways, the PlayStation Showcase is coming Wednesday. This is from the PlayStation blog. You're invited. PlayStation Showcase broadcast live next Wednesday, May 24th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. This is from Sid Schumann, Senior Director of SIE Content Communications. It's almost time to see what's next. PlayStation Showcase broadcasts live next Wednesday, May 24th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. The show will run a bit over an hour, focusing on PS5 and PSVR 2 games in development from top studios around the world. Expect a glimpse at several new creations from PlayStation Studios, as well as spellbinding games from our third-party partners and indie creators. The live broadcast starts Wednesday. I already said that on YouTube and Twitch. Hope to see you there. Now,
What could come?
What could come indeed, Connor? I've got a whole list of things. We're going to have a whole conversation. But first, business first, housekeeping first. We will be reacting to the showcase. Please come and watch our reaction. It will be up later in the day because they took too long to announce this. We couldn't get our time off. So we all have to go to work at least in the morning. I don't know. I might have to go work at night too or something, but I'm trying my best to get off. I'm working around it. We're working around our schedules to get it all working and so forth. So we're not going to be on the dot, but we are going to be very close. So just give us time to go put that out. It will be live over at youtube.com/@2pennygames. Sometime that same day, it'll be there. And we're very, very excited for that. But Connor, the PlayStation Showcase is coming Wednesday. You know, today is Sunday, Monday by the time you're listening to this. And oh boy, an hour-long showcase from PlayStation. It's time for them to give us what has been coined Phase 2 of the PlayStation 5, you know? So, Connor, this was announced a few days ago, so I've had a little bit of time to sort of put my thoughts together on this. And I just kind of want to run down a list of things with you, because we're just hypothesizing, you know? We're just, you know, we've only got theories and ideas and what we can go with it. So here, I'm going to run down a list of things that could be at the showcase, and I just want you to clear your mind, clear the mechanism, clear it all out, right? Get real center with yourself. And I just want you to yes or no tell me if these things will be there. I start real easy. I think everyone is expecting these first couple of things in here, and then we get into some more creative ideas. So, first things first, Spider-Man 2. You're doing a real bad...
Yes.
Yes.
There we go. I know my visuals are not always picked up.
Yeah.
Most people aren't picking them up, but I don't know if that game's coming out.
This year?
Yeah. I'm going to say yes, but I just...
Well, I'm just asking if it's going to be at the showcase, is all I'm asking right now.
Oh, I'm stupid. Okay.
There you go. So Spider-Man 2, definitely. I think we're getting the big blowout of Spider-Man 2. It's going to be 6, 7, 8, 10 minutes of Spider-Man 2. And you know, big gameplay reveal. We're getting a date. I'm fairly certain, you know, Insomniac has said, PlayStation said Spider-Man 2 is coming this year. I believe them. I think Spider-Man 2 is coming this year. And I think they've just kept the details close to the chest for this moment right here. I think they've been waiting to have a big blowout with the showcase. They've let things like God of War Ragnarok speak for themselves. They let things like Horizon Forbidden West speak for itself. For Spoken to speak for itself. And maybe they shouldn't have done that. But, you know, this is the world we're in.
Oh, well.
The Last of Us multiplayer.
We have to.
It has to.
We have to.
Right?
We have to be.
I think that's the big one. I think Spider-Man and Last of Us are the big two, right? Those are the big ones that like everyone's gonna come away with and be like, oh my god, this looks great or whatever. Last of Us, I think we get a big gameplay breakdown. I think we get like a really cool cinematic trailer maybe, and I don't think we'll get a date, but I do think we'll get a year, and I think it is next year. When? No idea. No idea, but they can wait on that. We don't need it right away. Connor, do we see an appearance from Wolverine?
I don't think we will. I want to say we would, but I feel like that'll be like a next year thing, or maybe even later at the end of this year after Spider-Man releases. Because I read on that they did make some kind of comment about it. So it makes sense if they're raring up their next superhero game after the original one already came out.
Yeah, Wolverine I'm split on. I think there's a good chance we do see it. I just don't think we're going to see a lot of it. I think we're going to get an idea of the tone, the world, the design of Wolverine. But I don't think we're going to get like a full gameplay thing. Maybe just like fragments of gameplay here and there. But I don't, that one they can go a little lighter on. As opposed to Spider-Man, they're going to have a big blowout for, of course. Because, one, it's a known quantity. We don't need to see it until it's time to see it. Wolverine is a lot of question marks, and they want us to be hype about it for, the next year or two. But again, this is Insomniac. They put out games fast. So I wouldn't be shocked to see if it's further along in development than we think. But I'm going to guess we're just going to kind of get the aesthetic of Wolverine, and that's probably it. Ghost of Tsushima sequel number 2. Ghost of whatever,
That screams Game of the Year awards reveal, like teaser trailer.
You think so? Game Awards?
I would think so. Yeah.
Where was the first Ghost premiered at? It was premiered at a PlayStation something, right?
It was, yeah. Well, yeah. I think it was during E3.
Yeah, I think during those times, yeah. That's so weird to me that you think that, because I think this is where you go for it. Like, this is PlayStation. They want to talk to you about the PlayStation stuff,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I would like it if they showed it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I think Ghost is here. I'm going to say yes, Ghost is here. I don't think we get much of Ghost. I think we get the equivalent of the Spider-Man 2 announcement trailer from the last time they did one of these. But, yeah, I think for sure. I'm almost willing to lock it in and say Ghost 2 is going to be there for sure.
It came out in 2020, so it's been 3 years.
Yeah.
4 years at this point. If it's coming out in 2024, who knows?
And then here we start getting into a couple more question marks. And it's sporadic because it's just whatever I could think of as I was filling out the list. A new IP from Sony Santa Monica.
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so, yeah. I think, they obviously want to do something different than God of War.
Yeah.
Maybe would be announcing something like that. But
we know they're working on something else. It's whatever Corey Barlog's doing over there.
Yeah. Yeah, something. Mixing. Well, he wasn't. You're actually right. They might, because he wasn't working on the new God of War Ragnarok. He was like producer or something. Like that. Yeah. Minimalistic, obviously, his involvement, I would think. But yeah. He would have been working on this for a while. So I'm going to still say no, just because I think it would come at a different event, possibly.
I could see for investor purposes announcing it here from the creators of God of War, from, fresh off the heels of God of War Ragnarok. Here's the new thing. Here's the next thing they're working on. I could see that. I could see it. I'm split on this one. I think no. I think I'm going to agree with you, and it's not going to be there. But, you never know. A Metal Gear Solid remake. Probably Metal Gear Solid 3 from all the rumors and speculation.
I want to say yes, but these rumors and speculations are never true. They've never been true up until this point.
See, here's the thing. It's just been too many. There's been too many leaks, too many rumors, too many things. I'm more than willing to bet the farm that a Metal Gear remake of some kind is there. Will it be anything like substantial? I don't know. I know from my memory and from reportings of this remake, they've been working on it for a while. They've had it cooking for a minute. So it's probably ready for a big blowout. I do not think this will be like the Knights of the Old Republic remake, where they just show Darth Raven or whatever his name is, and then that was it. And then obviously, I don't think we get KOTOR at this showcase, which hurts my soul. But I don't think it'll be there. But I think this Metal Gear Solid thing, probably from Virtuous, is probably going to be here.
I hope it is.
I hope so too. Connor,
I know you do.
now we hit into the realms of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Final Fantasy 16. I think 16 easy lock cinematic trailer, final trailer or something. You know,
They've done so many though.
they've done so many. They don't need to, but you know,
They
it's the
don't.
next big thing on the horizon. They have to, right?
They probably will. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it'd be like waste of show space.
I think
it's not.
I
but
think
it
it'll be
is.
quick. 2 minutes
Oh
max.
yeah.
Yeah,
Not
in
maybe
and
like
out.
2 minutes. Maybe like 30 seconds.
No, it'll be
Short,
more
I
than
think.
that. It'll be more than that because they're gonna, you know, it's gonna be a marketing
You know what?
material.
No, I'm gonna say no because
You
they
don't
did
think?
that whole big gameplay stuff recently. Like they really, really, really went in depth for like 17 minutes. So I think it's too quick. I'm gonna say no. Go with no on that.
I think you're getting a trailer. You're getting Final Fantasy 16 final trailer or something.
Very
you know?
possible. Very possible.
But 7 Rebirth.
My hopeful part of me, like your hopeful part for Metal Gear Solid 3, is gonna make
Uh-huh.
it a yes.
How much of
Something.
a yes? What are you
Like
thinking? here?
later this year. Really,
Oof.
like it's.
Oh,
it's
you
like,
think like
if they
full
announce
release
it-
date, everything this year?
if they do it in this award ceremony, in this showcase, yes, I think it'll come out this year.
Well, I think it's a lock for the showcase. Like, take it to the bank. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is making an appearance here because it's been too long since we've had an update from it, and you know it's been over a year since we've seen that game. And the Final Fantasy VII remake had a gameplay reveal at a PlayStation something. I think it was a PlayStation showcase, or maybe it was an E3, because that's how long 7 remake was in the can. So I you know, obviously, and it's PlayStation exclusive. I think PlayStation more than anything is tapping Square and going, "Hey, where's our 7 Rebirth stuff? Because we want that here." You know, I think PlayStation's hungry. They're willing to like really flex. They really want to flex and show why PlayStation is PlayStation here. And I think 7 Rebirth is a way to do it. And I think we get it. I'm going to argue even fairly early into the showcase. We're not going to open with it, but I think it's going to be in that game number 3 or game number 4 slot, somewhere in there, you know, where you're like, oh fuck, like you're coming off the highs of The Last of Us multiplayer and Spider-Man, and you're like, what's next? Final Fantasy, and it'll be the yeah, exactly, 100%. And I think we even get a date. I get a date. I don't think it'll be this year. I think it's early next year. I would love for it to be December, especially because it will absolutely fuck Phil in his Fantasy Critic League. Oh my god, man. Oh my god, if Final Fantasy VII Rebirth comes out this year, go ahead and put the Fantasy Critic in for a lock for me, man, because that game is gonna do me big numbers.
I forgot. I don't want it to happen anymore. Never mind.
Connor, something that I've been hearing whispers of throughout the industry, small little conversations, is the possibility of a Helldivers 2. I was a big fan of the first Helldivers. We know they're making on it. We know they're working on another one. Whether it ever comes out, we'll never see. We'll have to wait and see. But you know, if there was a place to do it, this would be it. I think a quick little 2-minute trailer, you know, max, like, would be nice to see, and just an announcement, and here it comes, and maybe a date, maybe a year, maybe a season, who knows?
I don't know.
Housemark.
Yep. No,
No?
I don't think they'll be here. No, I think it's too soon off the back of Returnal to be getting anything. Yeah, because
They've
Returnal
been
was a
supporting
pretty
Returnal
advanced
pretty
game.
well too, so
They have been.
Yeah,
I
but
don't think that's had any chance.
there has been plenty of headlines of like, hey, that team's grown. They're hungry. They're wanting to do another one real quick. I think Housemark is on the up and up as one of PlayStation's premier studios, and you know, if their previous work has any inclination, oh boy, get ready. I tend to agree with you. I don't think Housemark will be there. But it would make the showcase perfect if they were there.
You're like the strongest soldier.
I love Housemark, man. They're like, Resogun was a lot of fun. Not really my style of game, but it was fun. I toyed around for a little bit, and then Dead Nation, I believe they made. which was entertaining as well. But Returnal, I still put dollars to donuts. Returnal is one of the PlayStation 5's best games, like top 3, easy, not even a competition. Like it's that God of War Ragnarok's number 1. From there, Returnal, and then it's a huge gap between whatever else you want to put there. Like Returnal is that good. Haven Studios. This is their multiplayer studio, held it by, I forget her name at this moment, but the lady from Google who's over here that they're working on the multiplayer thing or some for. That, at first they were a partnership, and then like a year later they were acquired by PlayStation. Yeah. We covered their whole journey on the Gamescast years ago. I'm sure before even we had cameras is when we first started talking about Haven Studios.
No chance at all.
Really?
Because I was curious because I was looking it up because I was like, when was this created? When they start? And I see an article saying Haven Studios PlayStation multiplayer game soon to enter production phase. And this was an updated article from March 18th. So they're just entering in production phase. I don't know. I think it's a little bit too early.
And they've just been building the studio for 2 years? I don't know about that. Yeah, something sounds fishy about that. I think Haven shows up. With some title. A soft lock. It's a real soft lock. But I think Haven shows up, and I think we just get a title, and we just to know what they're doing, because we've known about them for too long,
and not known the game.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is because we've been talking about it forever on this show. PlayStation wants to break into that multiplayer market. They're tired of being the single player guys. They're not tired of it. They're going to continue being the single player guys, but they want to be everything. And it's time, they acquired Bungie. They've created studios like Haven and Firesprite and all of these things. Or Firewalk. That's what it is. Not Firesprite, Firewalk. And I think it's time to start showing that, hey, it's not time to show us what it is, but it's time to start telegraphing, throwing things out and being like, hey, this is coming. Be on the lookout for this. It'll be one of those games that they announced too early and then we never hear about for 2 years. Blue Point.
No.
You are not hopeful for this showcase at all.
It's just some of these things are so I would want a lot
over an hour, Connor. It's over an hour long.
It isn't. See, I think I'm expecting this thing to have lots of surprises. Just weird things you don't see coming.
Quite possibly. There's a lot of surprises at the last 2 showcases that they've had. State of plays have been, some are great, some are fine, some are whatever. But yeah, the showcases are definitely. I think Blue Point's a lock. I think it's a hard lock, Blue Point. I think Blue Point is probably their. I think Blue Point is their finisher. I think they finished with Blue Point.
So recently, we did a little hint for those who haven't seen it. I did a game where I had to guess what year games came out. I didn't do a good job.
You're talking about a mini game on the Piggy Bank.
Yeah.
Which is a show that comes out every Saturday.
Every Saturday. I'm going to change my answer, yes. I didn't know this. I forgot their last game came out a pretty good while ago.
Yeah. Demon's Souls is 2020, man. Yeah. It's been a minute.
The release of the PS5 doesn't seem like it happened in 2020. It seemed like it happened in 2022 or 1.
Yeah. No, we've had them for a little bit now.
Yeah, I always forget that. Okay, yeah, I think they're a lock. Never mind. You're right about that.
Yeah, I think it's time we see Blue Point. Connor, continuing the Square Enix catalog, Kingdom Hearts 4.
Okay, yeah, we have to, right?
You think we have to?
Because we saw gameplay, rough gameplay. How long ago?
Last year, I want to say, right?
I want to say that as well, but it might even be 2 years.
No, but definitely not 2 years. Definitely only a year ago.
Well, I will tell you right now, it seems like it was a year ago, yeah. So
Phil in the chat saying he's a believer for something. He says no shot. Phil says no shot, Kingdom Hearts 4. And I agree with him. No shot. No shot in the world for Kingdom Hearts 4.
This podcast, in the same way Metal Gear Solid always has a shooter somewhere, I'll give it to them. I'll be the shooter this week for Kingdom Hearts. And it's coming.
Okay. All right. We'll see. I don't think Kingdom Hearts shows up at all. I'd be shocked. Phil's a believer for Metal Gear, and I think Metal Gear's a lock. I think Final Fantasy VII's a lock. I think Kingdom Hearts not a chance in hell.
Mhm.
Connor, they talk about PSVR 2. What do you think that's going to look like?
Oh my God, I don't know. They seem to not even know themselves when they released the PSVR 2. So I don't know what they.
This could be the moment where they turn it around.
Does the PSVR 2 play a lot of past VR titles? Like, is it a function that's not available
it's a
now?
little short. It's come up a little short. It's got a couple of joints, but it's coming up a little short.
Like a couple of new games, obviously.
Yeah.
Who knows what those are? But then
Yeah.
mainly, I think a lot of it's going to be like updated like looks of old ones.
I mean, this is where you get Beat Saber. This is where you get, you know,
Mm-hmm.
your classic VR games and so forth. I think we spend somewhere in the realm of 5 to 10 minutes talking about VR. In that we get maybe 2 new games, one of which will be from PlayStation first party. Maybe it's a Horizon game, another Horizon game. Maybe it's a God of War. Maybe it's something from Insomniac. Who knows what? But yeah, I think we get one first party VR title. I think we get one from some random indie dev, and the game will also be out on Meta.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a sizzle reel of some other stuff coming soon, and then that's about it, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I don't believe that PlayStation has the stuff for PSVR 2, which is unfortunate. Because you know, I'm a believer in VR as a market, but PlayStation, I think, has taken a step back from what they did with the first one. And then to kind of continue the conversation we were having about Haven and Firewalk, live service / multiplayer games. I'm talking general, you know, industry wide, not specifically PlayStation centric. You know, they've said before they want something like 15 games or some shit to come out on PlayStation for live service type stuff. I think we get at least 3 of some kind. I don't know what form they take. It could just be multiplayer games with battle passes, not necessarily meant to be the next Fortnite. I think one of them will try to be the next Fortnite, but I think we get, I don't know, 3-ish, maybe 5 if we're really stretching it, talking about this.
I just don't know what they're doing multiplayer besides Haven.
This is the time to talk about it, is my point.
Is.
Like, this is the time for us to do the big stuff.
Mm-hmm. It is, but I'm not gonna lie. That article kind of makes me like I'm sitting in stone. That article of them just entering production phase. So without them,
but like, what does production mean? Like they've surely they've done pre-production. They know what the game is going to be. It's just figuring out all the systems around it and so forth, and actually the process of developing it. But like they probably have a better idea of what that game is as opposed to the Knights of the Old Republic remake, where they apparently just announced that and then didn't know what the fuck they were doing.
But the issue with Haven's, like a multiplayer game specifically, is you want to show those systems because it's, you know, there's not like the story to get you invested. At least that's not the main draw. Trailers in the past have existed for multiplayer games. Brink being one of the more famous ones that had this cool looking thing, and it did nothing to actually help the game because the game itself wasn't all that great. So I feel like if they're going to start
they just announced it and then we didn't know what it was until they showed a cinematic.
But it was like an animated movie level cinematic, like in terms of like make you think about Disney, and it was Blizzard as well. Blizzard at this time was the multiplayer guy. It was the next big game. Haven doesn't have that leeway. They're the new guys. They got to prove themselves, and I think they do that through showing really cool, interesting multiplayer gameplay and mechanics, rather than some kind of, you know, cinematic reveal, which I see the only possible way they can do anything.
I mean, I would put my money on a cinematic reveal. And I think it looks impressive. Gameplay, I don't think we get. If we do get gameplay for it, I don't think we do. It'll be just like a really quick vertical slice, and by the time we actually get the game, it'll look pretty different. Tekken 8.
I think we're seeing it.
I agree.
We've seen so many gameplay reveals for new characters. They're rolling out the cast, which admittedly is good to do right now because Tekken's known to have, whereas a lot of other games can kind of go for the shorter base cast when they first come out with their game, Street Fighter 6 being that case, Guilty Gear Strive. But with Tekken, it's always been a large group of characters you get off the back, and they're just rolling them out pretty consistently, which I think is an indication that they are going to be showing us things, but at the same time, it could be just, we'll do that at a later date once we roll more of the characters out. But if they do show something, maybe they'll just be like, okay, spurt of gameplay characters, characters of and their gameplay, and they might just do that, even if they're not going to do a release date or something beyond what they've been doing these past couple of months with those character trailers. So we might at least see that.
Yeah, this is one of those ones that could go. You could hit any like mark of the spectrum where it's just all right, cool, new character trailers, new cinematic trailers, whatever, something neat. They don't need to come this year. This year is stacked specifically for fighting games. Street Fighter 6 and Mortal Kombat 1, which was announced this week that we didn't have time to talk about. Which Mortal Kombat 1, sure, looks cool. For what they've shown us so far, but it's coming this year in September. Am I right in that? September something? September 12th, I want to say, but I could be wrong about that. So you have Street Fighter, you have Mortal Kombat. Tekken, you don't need to come this year, especially because in the wake of those two giants, you're going to get eaten alive. So as much, again, I would like it for fantasy critic reasons. I would love for Tekken 8 to come this year. But I don't think it's happening. But I do think we see Tekken 8 in a big way at the showcase. I think a really cool trailer. Maybe a date, more likely maybe a month or a season. Spring next year or something.
That would be pretty reasonable if they choose to do that.
Uncharted, in any way, any shape, any dev.
I don't think so. I just don't see that being in Uncharted's immediate future.
Yeah,
an Uncharted game.
I would like it. I would like it from a new studio, of course. I don't want it from Naughty Dog. I don't want another Uncharted from Naughty Dog. I think Naughty Dog is done with Uncharted. But I think there's potential here. There's been too much conversation about Uncharted. PlayStation knows that Uncharted as an IP matters to them. There was talk of the what are they called? Ben Studio making a remake for that, but then they were going to do the Last of Us thing, and then Naughty Dog took that into their own house and made it themselves. So now now it's a question mark of what is Ben Studio doing? Is it an Uncharted 1 remake now? Who knows? Is it a new Uncharted game from Ben? Who knows? Or is it just something else entirely? Who knows? I think it's been enough time to announce a new Uncharted, to say we're going in a new direction with Uncharted. But I don't know. You could wait longer. I think we could all go a little longer without seeing Uncharted. I think only some of us are starting to miss Uncharted. I don't think it's a fully thing where everyone's you know what we could go for? Some more Uncharted. I don't think anybody 100% feels that way. I'd like another one. I kind of miss having those big action adventure games like Uncharted, but I don't need it right now. I'm cool. I'm cool off of Uncharted 4. I'm cool off of Lost Legacy. I'm cool off of the Legacy of Thieves collection that you released last year. I can wait. But, I wouldn't be surprised to see. Well, I would be surprised, but it wouldn't be the most unbelievable thing for them to dip back into that well. A Horizon multiplayer game. We know one is coming in some form. We don't know how, from who, what it looks like, nothing.
I don't think we're seeing that. I don't know. How Horizon doesn't have that pool.
I think you can wait. I think you can wait another year. I just don't think it's this year. I think it's coming soon, but I just don't think it's this year. I think you can wait a little longer for that before you go crazy with that. DS2, Death Stranding 2.
Yeah.
You think?
I can see that happening.
I think it's a Summer Games Fest thing. I don't think you see it here at PlayStation.
No, you're right. If it's going to show up, it's going to be at the Summer Games Fest. Him and Keeley have too much of that connection there. It was announced at the Game Awards. Yeah, I think we just get a trailer. I don't think it's anything crazy, but I think it's just one of Kojima's weird cinematic trailers that he likes to make. So, he loves movies.
We had fucking 8 of them for the first game.
They were cool.
Stellar Blade.
What game is that again?
Stellar Blade is the really cool Bayonetta-looking game with the a sci-fi.
Yes. Yeah. You know what? Yeah. I think he's having this. That was a big draw when it was previously announced and shown. People were talking about it. That's really cool.
Yeah, we've seen it. We've seen it several times. We've seen it several times. So I think it's time for a really meaty gameplay trailer. You know, not like a stop everything, this is what we're doing, like with Spider-Man or with The Last of Us. But I think it's going to be a meaty gameplay trailer where, you know, it's intercut, high energy, all of that. And I think it ends with a date.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been too long to cooking.
Keep waiting.
Like we knew that game. Like I think it was at the last showcase. It was at that state of play with Rise of the Ronin, which we're about to talk about in a second. It was at that showcase, and it was at the PS5 launch showcase, or maybe the one after that, I forget. And we didn't even know it was called Stellar Blade at the time. It was Project something or other, you know? So yeah, I think Stellar Blade coming, meaty gameplay trailer with a date. And then I said it earlier, but Rise of the Ronin.
I would love to see that, but I don't think we're seeing it at this showcase.
Really?
I think it'd be a little bit later.
Oh, you think like another late state of play or something?
Maybe even Summer Games Fest at the earliest, but...
Really? I mean, that's only 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know, but I think more like...
And I'm pretty sure it's a PlayStation exclusive, so... I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm not like willing to bet the farm on that, but I think it's a PlayStation exclusive.
I think it is, actually, yes.
Look up what team is doing that, because I don't even know what team...
Team Ninja.
Oh,
the action
my
guys.
God, yeah.
Yeah, the action. What was the last one they made? The last game? I'm finding out.
I forget.
Wolong Fallen Dynasty.
Yeah, but I think these are clearly two different teams. And what we saw from that state of play looked pretty complete. I think we see it. I don't think we get anything, like, I don't think we get a date or anything, but I think we see it. I think it shows
I would love it.
Lies of P.
Yeah, we're definitely getting that.
You think so?
Oh, wait, no. When's that coming out again? It's coming out in August?
Yeah. I think that's a Summer Games Fest game.
That's true as well. Is it PlayStation only? Oh, it's not. Yeah, it's definitely
it's
Summer Games Fest.
Yeah,
that's just Summer Games Fest to be like exact date in August, because we still don't have that yet. And then just be like, oh, here's a little bit of trailers for story stuff, because that's what we've mainly done. Do it again.
And then Persona, in any way. Spin-off game, new mainline title.
It's time for a Persona 3 remake, I think, is when this is going to be announced.
There's been talk
I think
of
that's
it.
the big one.
There was a leak recently about it. Yeah, Persona 3 remake, quite possible.
And the leak was shown with Sonic, before with Sonic Frontiers, and apparently this was like an internal thing that they had shown, and it looked like basically the same. Tweaked, obviously, but relatively the same.
I'd forgot about the P3 remake. I was more thinking about a Persona 6.
Yeah, and I guess to that end, I don't think Persona 6 here. I think 3 remake would be pushed out first.
I think there's a Persona 6 coming at some point. I don't think we see it here. I think Atlas just does it on their own.
Atlas has always done stuff with the Game Awards, though. They did Joker and Smash. I believe they did the original Persona 5 at a Game Awards.
Oh God, I don't know, because Persona 5 was supposed to be on PlayStation 3, or was on PlayStation 3, also with PS4. I don't know about that one.
E3. Well,
E3. Yeah. Well, it might have still been tied to Keighley in some way, shape, or form there. So yeah. But I didn't think about the P3 remake. I'm gonna guess no. I don't think so. I think Atlas, first of all, likes to do a lot of their stuff on their own, and they can do it with Persona. And I think, if anything, they would show up on a Summer Games Fest or a Keighley stage or a Game Awards stage or something like that. I just don't think we get an update for Persona right now. It doesn't feel right.
Yeah. I'd
love one,
but you're in for the 3 remake, but not for the 6.
I think 3 remake comes first.
Yeah.
But I don't think Persona shows up at this showcase at all, if that was your question.
Okay.
I don't think Persona's here. I'd like it though. I'd really like it. And then the last thing I can think of is just some kind of PlayStation Plus update. I don't know what form or shape that takes. It could be anything, a reworking of the tiers, or a big, like, hey, here's all the great stuff that's on PS5 that you can get now. The Forbidden Wests, the God of War Ragnaroks and stuff. The Returnal. I don't even know if Returnal is available through PS Plus or something. Ratchet and Clank, I think, just got announced that it's coming to PS Plus. The Rift Apart. But yeah. That's all I got. Is there anything else, Connor, that you're like a little nagging feeling in the back of your brain where you're like, oh, this shows up here?
No, this is a good list you compiled. That's pretty much all the things that are in the sphere of consciousness right now. And
FromSoft, does
anything other
FromSoft
than-
show up in any way?
Oh,
I don't
no.
think they do.
No, I don't think they do. I
Unless
think
they give us a
anything
Bloodborne remaster.
that has been
It's
talked
been
about online.
It's been asked for so long,
and rumored.
Yeah, I wouldn't. That's one of those that I'm like, I don't think they're gonna do it. Like,
This is my well, it's not my version because I don't think it's coming of Metal Gear Solid 3, where it's just rumors, and I'm like, they're never true.
yeah, they're no, yeah. So I don't think FromSoft shows up at the showcase.
Yeah.
They probably show up at SGF or something with Armored Core
Or they do their own gameplay thing. 'cause
or
they've done that in
Elden
the
Ring
past.
DLC.
No, I don't think yet. I think we'll see that at a later date. Just not
Okay.
right now.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for the news. We are running along because you have a girthy Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom review coming up right next. We're going to bring Phil in here. Connor, you're going to stay here like a good little fucking boy. Talk about Zelda.
I can't get out of this chair. I can't get out of it.
So I'm gonna dip out. So you guys, until next time, have a great time. This has been the Two Penny Gamescast episode 148. Thank you so much for listening. You can get us every Monday, 8 a.m. Central Time, youtube.com/@2pennygames, and mainstream podcast services of your choice. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, follow, all of that thing. You can find links to all of our social medias down in the description. Please check us out all on those. Let's go ahead and bring Phil in.
Hey guys, it's welcome to our Tears of the Kingdom review. It's finally happening.
It came
After
out.
all this time, all this waiting, 6 years of waiting since Breath of the Wild, Connor. Can you believe it?
I can't believe it because I've been playing it for the past week.
It's here, man. It's here. It's on screen. You can see that's me following Zelda around with all my fucking hearts. I wonder what's going to happen to those.
I'm playing it right now.
Dude, oh, no way.
While we're
I
doing
got,
this
I,
review.
got my, I got my limited edition Tears of the Kingdom Switch right here.
We're so pathetically nerdy. How losers we are.
What do you think, Link? What do you think?
Oh, you have a Link figure? Wait, pull up close to the camera. What's he look like?
I mean, this is Breath of the Wild Link. This isn't Tears of the
Good.
Kingdom. I have the
fine.
Tears of the Kingdom one as well. I don't know
Oh.
where I put it. I think it's in my coffee table. I also have Rivali right here. There's Rivali.
He's an asshole.
Yeah, but he's probably my favorite of the original Guardians. Anyway, Rivali's Gale is now ready.
I heard that many times.
Oh yeah, dude, that stuff was great. That's probably one of the only things in this game I miss. But anyway, enough talking about that. Let's go ahead and get our thoughts together about how we feel about Legend. I'm trying to see how many times I can say about without actually getting to the point. How we feel about Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Connor, hit me.
I'm starting it off? All right, I can start it off. So, the original Breath of the Wild was a masterpiece. And when you take a sequel, generally you want to be able to make the game as good as the original, but ideally you want to improve upon it. Tears of the Kingdom is a perfect case example of that, of taking what made Breath of the Wild great, enhancing those things, and adding new elements to make it the definitive Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild universe game. Because, I think of these games as being kind of just in the same boat. I group them together, but Tears of the Kingdom has to be identified as the definitive one due to the amazing systems that the game introduces to allow freedom of play, freedom of completion of puzzles, traversal. I'm assuming I haven't done many boss fights yet because I'm currently 15 hours into the game. I unfortunately had a busy week, so I hadn't been able to play it as much as I wanted to. But I'm assuming it works the same way with bosses. It gives the player so many ways to approach situations that makes me feel more free than ever. Not only when I'm exploring the overworld and the underworld and the overworld, seeing as how there's 3 different levels to explore as opposed to just the one. Each one of them done just as well as Breath of the Wild did the main ground that you walked on in the first game. It improved upon the puzzles by, once again, using those. A lot of what makes this game great is the systems of allowing yourself to go through any upward upward platform, any kind of thing that's above you, and going through it to get to where you need to go easier, reversing things in motion, moving things with the Ultra Hand ability, and fusing things together to create a variety of different weapons and tools to make said traversal and puzzle completion very fun to do. The combat is the same as Breath of the Wild, because it is, at the end of the day, Breath of the Wild 2, because it plays the exact same way. The only difference is that you have those systems I was previously talking about. The glider is still here, the ability to have weapons degrade and break as you use them, so you're constantly trying to make new ones, or find new ones, but now you can make them with the fuse ability, once again leading to greater a greater breadth of ways to play the game. Seriously, just better in every way. If you played Breath of the Wild, you'll love this one. And those who didn't like Breath of the Wild still might enjoy this one. I hold that someone like Tavin, who notably is on the record as not liking the original game, original Breath of the Wild, knowing he's in the minority. This game just it gives you so many ways to approach how you play. And also just, well, you know, maybe he wouldn't find it better, but who cares what he thinks? It's an amazing masterpiece.
Yeah, there are certain points of this game that I would think Tavin would like. Like, I think he would enjoy making vehicles. I think he would enjoy exploring around the world. I think he would enjoy all of those things. But then we go back to like what he was saying last week about Breath of the Wild and how he doesn't vibe with the combat. He doesn't like dealing with weapons he doesn't enjoy using. And I think weapons degrade even faster in this game. I think that's actually like true, because there's that whole thing where like they even mention at some point in the game where Ganondorf or like the Calamity or the, what are they called, the Gloom has deteriorated a bunch of the weapons, but like the shields are fine, and like it's really just like the like handheld weapons like spears, long swords, clubs, just regular swords, you know, it's all that stuff. I think all that stuff just breaks faster.
Unless
Did you have anything else you wanted to add? Because we kind of,
that was my little spiel, I would have to say.
Okay. Then I guess I'll go ahead and dive right into mine. I, of course, Connor, had been playing a shit ton of Tears of the Kingdom. Oh my god, just incredible game. It amazes me how often I can go about something and things don't necessarily have just one correct answer. You know, I can get to point A to point B in so many different ways. I can use a horse. I can fucking teleport. I can teleport there using one of the towers, launch myself up, glide there. I can not necessarily break physics, but use the tools they give me to break physics and launch myself there. I saw this fucking incredible video where someone threw a spear with a plank of wood on it, had it spinning, used the rewind ability, rewound the spear, hooked up a plank of wood onto the plank of wood on the spear, then unrewound, let the spear go as they were on it, and they flung themselves up into the fucking air because of the fucking clockwise spinning of the spear whenever Link throws it. Incredible. The amount of geniuses I see online making their own drones, their own fucking transforming mechs in this game. It's incredible. And then to a lesser degree, you have me, and I'll fuse my sword onto a spear, and it'll be like a longer spear, or vice versa, and I'll have just like a really long sword that I can sweep around and hit a bunch of enemies with. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the combat in this game, but I love the amount of the different combinations of weapons and different things you can combine together to take on these combat trials, not trials, because trials makes it things like it's like a shrine or something, but these encounters, you know, I can use the tools that the game gives me, your ultra hands, your fuse, your rewind, all that good stuff in so many different ways. Like, you have these enemies that throw rocks at you, you rewind the rock, goes right back at them, hits them, stuns them, there you go wail on them. It's just incredible. And then oh my god, and I was talking to Tavin about it. I was like, dude, I've never felt so smart and simultaneously so fucking stupid in this game than whenever I was going to it might have been in, because you said you did like you were doing the Wind Temple, right? It's one of the shrines around there. there's a gate that has a door with a switch behind it. And I was like, okay, do I have to like hit it with the thing behind the door, like swing it into the switch? Literally, just pull out your fucking bow, shoot the switch through the bars. That was the fucking solution. I had to put the game down for a second to be like, oh my god. And then I see all these tweets about how if you're playing Tears of the Kingdom, don't worry, you're not stuck. Just use Ascend.
I saw that same thing.
Just use Ascend, and my god, it's true. Because I'll be running around. It's like, oh, how do I get there? Oh, just Ascend, go up. There you go. Bob's your uncle. God, just the amount of different combinations people have done with like their shields and putting like bombs onto shields and launching themselves up in the air. This game is a masterclass in making your the player feel like they're breaking the game. But no, it was all intentional in the first place. Like that's what they meant for you to do. They want you to have fun. This is the purest form of a sandbox experience. And I've never had more fun just exploring a world, putting random shit together, running around, killing enemies, solving puzzles, finding these little Koroks, delivering these little Koroks to their friends. And Jesus, it's such a great time. There's just the characters. It's the same Hyrule that we had in Breath of the Wild, but they changed some stuff around. The characters have aged up. People are doing new things. It's super awesome to get to reunite with a lot of these, not necessarily just major characters. Like I went to what's the town with the Sheikah called? What's it called?
Hatanov?
No. Kakariko.
Kakariko, that's what it is. Yes.
I went to Kakariko, and then there's the fucking I ran into like the painter guy out in the wild. I don't remember if you like one of the first like shrines that you have to follow somebody to is that like painter guy in Kakariko Village. I found him just out in the wild painting a light, like a scenic wildlife scene just on the easel, and I was like, oh my god, it's this guy.
It's all connected. It's all connected.
It's awesome.
Man.
This world is so fleshed out. Like it feels so lived in, and it makes me want to live here, you know? Like I want to just explore and talk to people and do all these things. My camera's unfocused. Hang on.
That was good on my screen.
There we go. That was weird. But yeah, I have such a blast going through and doing just these nothing quests. Like I'm just going, I don't know if you've talked to there's like a Pelican guy who's like a newspaper delivery guy.
Yes, I'm going to be a member of the news staff because as a Link, you can do a lot of different things in this world.
It's awesome. So he's like a recurring quest giver to where if you go to each of the stables, you talk to him, he gives you a new quest, and you just you do whatever shit he wants you to do. You follow him to some place, you deliver like this band to the top of a hill to where a great fairy fountain is. You go in the bottom of a well where some lady's singing. Like it's ridiculous, and I love it, and it's so silly. And God, I don't know. Have you done any of the like the memory things, like the little like there's the fuck, I just hit my mic stand. There's like the big I don't know what like they're almost like Nazca lines where like you can see all the different like if you're up in the sky and you look around, you can see some like drawings on the ground or like on mountainsides and stuff.
That memory stuff.
Yeah. So if you go over and you there's like a little pool. I don't know. Have you run into Impa in the wild yet?
Impa.
She's the former chief of the Sheikah.
No, I had not yet. Unfortunately, I was trying to do more of the story bits, but I kept getting distracted to do the shrines in the game.
That's exactly the thing, man. Me myself, I'm over 50 hours into this game, and I'm still less than halfway through this game, easily.
It is a much bigger game than Breath of the Wild because one of the things I was concerned about was the overworld is the same thing. You know, the basic Hyrule map. So I was like, okay, obviously they have the upper part, the sky, which is now accessible to you, either through jumping up on towers, as you were saying before, which, by the way, they were able to make the lookout towers even more interesting because originally it was a nice experience to climb up and see this new world, which now that you're familiar with, they changed it up by shooting you way higher in the sky in a great visual.
Just catapult you up into the air.
Literally,
awesome.
It is awesome. I was experiencing it for the first time, and I was once again feeling the same way I did when I played the original Breath of the Wild, of just taking in the landscape, because it gave you this now different angle that you didn't experience before. mixed in with the sky worlds that even give you greater, greater conception of what you can go and do, since there's so many more things in this game because of that extra region.
This is the purest form of when a game hands you tools and you're like, oh, I wonder if I can do this. And yeah, you can absolutely do that.
Mm-hmm.
And just the added verticality to what was the Breath of the Wild map in the Sky Islands, in the underground, it's insane. It literally triples the size of this game.
It does.
And it's insane.
And going back to traversal, one of the things that sometimes happens is bits of the sky ruins will fall down to the ground, and they'll eventually go back. Well, did they eventually go back up on their own?
No, so they don't go back up on their own. If you leave, they'll despawn.
That's what happens.
But you can just use rewind and go up with them.
Whoop. And it's just a random traversal that you just kind of always take advantage of, because if you're still just going on the ground level of things, you can go up high and then go on your glider and go where you need to go from there. Or you can just take a little bit of a detour towards the ruins that it'll inevitably lead up to, which generally have shrines in them, which was one of the big criticisms of the last game, saying how the puzzles that accompanied those shrines to get upgrades or get blessings of light to upgrade either your stamina wheel or your health bar were kind of boring. I didn't really find that overall, but I can understand why some would. But
I think a lot of them, at least for me, my biggest complaint was how repetitive some of them were. Like all the combat shrines, and it's like, oh, major test of strength, oh, moderate test of strength, oh, modest test of strength. Just 3 different levels of basically the same trial.
Which
and it just felt repetitive. And I've never gotten bored, like, oh, this is just like what I did before. This is like, oh, this is kind of similar to what I did before, but it's a new take on it. It's like, have you gone to Eventide Island yet?
No, I had not.
So I just went and visited, and it's Eventide Island, but the kind of twist was nothing really got taken away from me. And it was different. So that whole thing, it's still a similar, like, kind of combat trial based thing, but it's not, you don't get everything taken away from me. Now, have you run into any of the shrines that basically strip you down
I have.
Yeah. So they do that with multiple shrines now. And I think that's better, me personally.
Yeah, to the people that haven't played it, there's generally 3 types of shrines. Clue in me if there's any more that I've yet to experience. Sure. One of them is where all your equipment's taken away, and you're usually supposed to do combat bits, but only with tools that are available to you in that shrine, and that generally require you to, once again, use that fuse ability to create new weapons. Another one is the combat trials, which really just serve as tutorials and ways to, kind of get you in the mindset of doing more things with the combat system. Maybe giving a bit more.
It introduces you to like sneak strikes, pairing with a shield, throwing items. Yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and the other one, which is I think the most prominent and the one that I want to focus on the most, which is jury rigging things to get to the end of the shrine to, get your blessings. Because going back again to the ability to create, weird contraptions, whether it be just a simple hook with a board underneath it to go on rails and zip around, or creating using wind turbines to attach them towards some kind of vehicle with wheels on it. To put them on rails that I was talking about before, to just shoot through and guide yourself across the map. And I think I have to make a claim of, maybe this will change, but I don't see it doing. This is the best puzzles in any non-puzzle game ever made. And I say that because a lot of the times when I play puzzle games, there's usually a way you have to do it. And it's a goal of getting to that point. Portal 2 being most prominent among them, especially because we just played that, which you can watch our review of that on the Big Game Club. I usually don't do shout-outs, but there's one. But in this game, I feel, as you said before, I feel so smart completing shrines, but so stupid, because I think to myself at the end of it, when I complete it with whatever crazy way I do it, I don't think this is the way the game intended to, but clearly it allows you to do so.
Right.
And it just makes it's so freeform, and it makes it where I'm not trying to find the one way to do it. I just can do it as I see fit, or any angle that I perceive to finish the shrine, I do it. And more often than not, I'm able to accomplish it. When in other games, it would make you fall and fail. The original Breath of the Wild being an example.
Yeah.
And it makes those shrines extremely fun, knowing that you have this unique, interesting problem, interesting puzzle to tackle that on its own is good, but you add your own ingenuity to it, and each player would be different, and they can solve it in a variety of different ways. I don't know if I even completed most puzzles the correct way, but I completed them.
I'm right there with you, man. This game, I mean, it's like jazz, you know. It's just doing whatever you think works, and it works.
Mm-hmm.
It's
a good way to put it.
Yeah. I was kind of memeing, but it's true.
Freeform of jazz.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the most notable like times where I feel smart is whenever I'm able to come up with my own solution. It's like, oh, I don't need to do it this way. I can just do this. I can. There's most notably, I think one that was I've heard talked about the most was this shrine that had a bunch of rails. I think there was one that had 2 sets of rails, and it was running along this like little path, and then it went around, and then it was just one rail or one set of rails. And so what I did is I took they gave you a bunch of stone platforms, stone blocks, right? So I made like a little platform, like a long one, and then on the ends of them, I put platforms going perpendicularly so it would hold on to the rail, and then one in the middle for whenever it switches to the one set of rails, it would just still be able to guide itself, and I had it propelled by wind. And it was like, oh my god, this is so smart. But I've seen people do the thing where they turn their shield into a skateboard using a minecart, and I've seen these. Yeah, so they do something similar to what I was doing, but they don't do anything perpendicular. They just have the one board, and they balance out on the 2 sets of rails. Then they get to the one rail, and they jump, and then they fucking skateboard onto the rail all the way to the end. And it's like, I tried to do that the first time. I was like, oh, I'm not skilled enough to do this. I can't. I gave it a couple tries. I was like, I can't do this. And then I came up with my contraption to like hold on to the rails. And there's just something so cool that I love about the community vibe to this game, you know, where like you can look on social media and it's not, people aren't spoiling things like you would expect for like a story based, like a narrative based game.
Really not.
They're just showing, hey, this is some cool shit that I made. This is how I solved this problem. This is what I did here. And there's something so cool about that to me. And it's you remember whenever in like elementary school, you're meeting on the playground with your friends and you're talking about these games with your friends. It's like, oh, did you see this? Did you do this? That's what this is, man. And it's just a huge, massive version of that. And there's just something so cool about that to me. And it just makes it warms my heart, dude. As mushy and stupid as that is, it makes me feel happy. You know,
yeah, I mean, it's the coming together of community over, as you said, it brings back those memories of just hanging out with your friends and saying what your experiences were with the new video game. But yeah, on a wider scale, because everyone's playing Tears of the Kingdom.
I mean, if you're not, you might as well just bury your head in the sand, you know?
Stupid idiots only don't play this game. But what about the depths? I haven't explored the depths all that much, but it's definitely the more hardcore way to play the game.
Yeah. So it's kind of scary down there.
Mm-hmm,
like a little bit. Like one of the first ones I went down in, it definitely is not one of the first ones that it shows you. It was just this random Tavin saying that he's here, listening to us talk.
I hope he's here.
He's just here listening. He missed us bagging on him and talking about how he might as well just bury his head in the sand. Anyway, but so as far as like the depths goes, one of my first experiences with it isn't like there's that one guy that kind of like looking down in the middle of Hyrule Field, like in the opening like bit as soon as you get down. I didn't go down there, but I tried to, but I died very, very, very quickly because I didn't have my paraglider yet. But I went down and I was like, oh my god, it's so dark, I can't see anything. All I see is like the faint red glow of all these things. I found this huge fucking coliseum. Yeah, and I went in and I was like, oh my god, I should not be here. This is scary. And I think that's probably one of my, this leads into probably one of my biggest kind of criticisms of the game, and that has to do with the combat and kind of what I was talking about it before. And that is just there's a moment towards the end of the combat encounter in the Colosseum where it just kind of gives you either more enemies or harder enemies to deal with, or like stages of that. So like the first one, it's like, oh, 3 bokoblins come by. Second one, 1 blue bokoblin and 2 regular red bokoblins come by, and they're slightly harder, right? And then there was this one asshole that was shooting like exploding arrows, 2 like black bokoblins that were super tough, and 1 like just silver bokoblin that was super fucking hard. And I think I can't count on my hands how many times I died to that combat encounter, just banging my head up against the wall. And it's just the fact that I would spawn in, it would show that they're released, but they would get to move before I was even allowed to move. So like I couldn't get away from them before they were just heading towards me and closing the distance super fast. Like they came in super fast, and I was moving the stick, but it wasn't letting me control Link. And that's probably just like, I don't know if that's just how I like a result of where I was standing whenever the thing triggered, or I don't know, but it felt kind of unfair. I ended up winning because I'm a gamer and I'm a fucking beast at this game. I ended up beating them because I don't give up on combat encounters like that. And Link just had to die like 15 times.
Trial and error. He can take. He's the hero of Hyrule. But true. To your end of that criticism, one thing that happened twice so far on my playthrough was I would die in a combat encounter, but it auto-saved beforehand, so I would appear right in that same combat encounter. One of them was on a horse, which kind of takes a little bit to get started up, and so every single time I would spawn in, I just get shot with an arrow and die. Because I had like no food and low health at that time because it was early in the game, and it was just a little bit of a frustrating moment just for, something that's pretty logistically easy to solve, just not auto-save right before combat, which... It seemed like, I don't know if it just auto-saves at random times, but it just screwed me over in that way.
There is like an autosave that happens. I think it happens whenever you like enter a new area, quote unquote.
Seems to be.
Or like if you make like a discovery, like when it tells you like, oh, discovery or whatever, it autosaves there. But that was just, it just has to do with, I'm not a huge fan of like the actual combat itself. I love what they do with you being able to create your own weapons and tackle these situations in different ways. I just wish that the mechanics of the combat itself were a little more in-depth. Like they had expanded more on it. Like, I don't know, maybe if there was like a dodge roll or something like that. I know that's just me, like that's like the Elden Ring me in here. I feel like that would just make me worse, and I'd be panic rolling all over the place, and I'd be out of stamina even faster, because I feel like it would have to be tied to stamina. Yeah,
of
just
course.
like a dodge roll. Like that's the only way you could make it work. But yeah, that was one of the only things in this game that I felt I wasn't a huge fan of.
Yeah, and to that point, the only area they didn't improve upon from the original Breath of the Wild is the combat, as you were saying. I'm not a defender of it because I can clearly understand why people don't like it, but I enjoy the combat. But it didn't, besides the fusing elements, it didn't do much to revitalize that. It really focused on all the other areas, such as exploration, puzzle solving, and customizability.
And that's where this game shines.
It is where it shines.
Is the traversal, exploration, just putting you in a sandbox and being like, hey, go play. Just it's like you're a little kid and your parents drop you off at the playground. Go ahead, go on the slide, go on the swings, just do your thing,
and then I'm good.
That's it. That's all you need.
Tool. I will be playing this game for. So it was notable because recently I admitted that I had not beaten Breath of the Wild because I kept getting sidetracked. I beat it now, so I'm a justified reviewer of Tears of the Kingdom. I'm not a hack.
You know who hasn't beaten Breath of the Wild?
The guy who has. He's never said he's a hack, but we all know he's a hack.
I mean, he's not just going to come out and say it, but I feel like he knows. He in the chat says, "Bite me." Anyway,
what was my original point? I was going to say something.
You were going to say, you were going to say it was going to take you a while to beat this, but you will end up beating it, I think.
Yes, because I'm just going to get sidetracked. I already see it. I see it now from where I am, and it's just going to go more and more and more. I guess one other criticism I have is the main temples are better than the divine beasts, but it's still kind of the same function where you're just finding certain, contraptions to unlock the mechanics to go further in the shrines. But once again, I'm only 15 hours in. I haven't even beaten one of the main shrines yet. Oh, obviously the tutorial one, but who knows how much that's similar to the actual rest of the shrines. You might know more.
The temples. So I do think that they're better. Mainly just because of the tools that they give you are better in this game than they were in Breath of the Wild. So I was able to I did the I've already done the wind temple and I did the fire temple last night.
Okay.
And I was just there. I was not doing things the way I was supposed to, but the game was letting me do it, so it was satisfying. And I was I beat it this way. So like I was cheesing the ascend ability. I was using these little they give you like a fire hydrant at some points where you can just spray water, and so I would go under. There's like a locked room where like I'm sure you're supposed to do something and hit the switch somewhere at some other point. But I used the fire hydrant. I made like a little obsidian block because like water onto the lava, like made like a little rock thing. I jumped onto the rock thing, went underneath with the building I was supposed to be, and hit ascend and went through. And then I just did it that way, and I just felt like a fucking genius doing all that. And this game just does a fantastic job of that. Like I feel like I'm a broken record because I've said it like 3 times already. But yeah, I feel like an idiot who is really smart.
This game makes me feel like a physicist, and I enjoy it for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so trying new things.
I'm so intelligent, but not really. If you saw me playing the game, you would quickly understand that.
Goddamn. Yeah, I think the only word that comes to mind whenever I think about trying to describe this game or like trying to review it has to be a masterpiece. This is a masterpiece.
If I thought that way about Breath of the Wild, I have to think of it about this
exactly
way.
because Breath of the Wild, of course, it's a masterpiece, but this just improves upon it in any way to the point where looking back at Breath of the Wild, I was like, I don't think I want to play Breath of the Wild anymore. It's like the Toy Story Andy meme. It's like, I don't want to play with you anymore.
And to be honest, I'm right there with you because once again, it just takes what made Breath of the Wild so good and made it better.
Yeah, you just take the Sheikah slate and then it has all the abilities on it, and it's just I don't want to play with you anymore. I have Ultra Hand, Fuse, Ascend, all this good stuff.
I do have to give a send off. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really care that much about the abilities in the original one. Like they're not bad at all, but they're good.
They were good for the game that they were made for.
Yeah, I sorely miss the bombs.
I do miss the bombs. I like the bombs, but I think the bombs they give us they're serviceable. I don't think they're as good as the bombs in Breath of the Wild, but they work to like the same effect. You got your bomb flower, which I think is harken back to like Skyward Sword, where like you would do like bomb bowling, but you don't. To my knowledge, there's no like actual bomb bowling in this one. Not any that I've actually tried to experiment with. I wonder if you could actually roll a bomb and have it blow up whenever it hits something. Now I'm curious. But they have something similar with like the Zonai tools, which we haven't even talked about.
Well, you're not.
With like the time bomb, and there's so many different ways that people are using these bombs on like their shields to give them extra height. People are just throwing them like regular bombs. People are I don't know where I was going with that, but the Zonai tools in this game, they just open up an entire it's just another page, like another page into the encyclopedia that is this fantastic game. You got like, I think just being able to make a little flying machine, which I just hits my lizard like little kid brain. Like I just wanted to fly as much as I could when I was a kid playing video games. And because I think I was just I was like obsessed with dragons as a kid. And so like just me being able to make a little plane and fly around, and I can put a little cannon on this plane and fucking just take stuff out. And the little control stick thing that you can make and put onto items and stuff is so cool. Like,
I have yet to get to that device.
You haven't gotten that device?
I know it exists because I've seen a lot of the contraptions that I haven't been able to make. Other people have been, solely because you have to upgrade the charge that you have access to, which allows you to use these devices for longer periods of time. Particularly the most prominent one I would say is the fan, which these devices you can carry and drop whenever you desire to build basically whatever you want at the time. And there's a bunch of stations across the map that are built just for allowing you to, like, pieces of wood, wheels, bars, things like that you could use to, make your vehicles on a moment's notice.
Before this game, I would have never thought that a fan could be so versatile. Like, you could use it in so many different ways.
Who would have thought? Just a fan.
Honestly. Have you seen people are like just cool looking stuff, or people are like putting the flame emitters onto boomerangs and just having like fucking spinning fire at people. It's
Very
so cool. So neat.
I'll be happy to play more of this game and create more contraptions.
Absolutely. No,
License.
I'm super hyped. I'm not like super creative like all these people on Twitter are making these fucking mechs and like someone literally made like a fucking Gundam.
Yep. I haven't seen that, but I'm not surprised.
Insane.
Let me see.
I saw one where someone made like a drone and like a sky flying drone and then like a ground like robot like rolling drone, and so it was the ground drone and the air drone attacking a bokoblin camp and just reducing it to rubble. It had to have been against the Geneva Convention of High. I don't know where that stands in Hyrule. I don't know how that works, but there were some war crimes being committed in that bokoblin camp. Like,
but then who cares about those guys? They're literally evil, and they get revived when the blood moon hits. So
is the blood moon happening a lot more often for you?
It seems to.
It seems like it's happening a lot, and I'm not complaining because I'm all for like having like all these bokoblins coming back and getting more and more resources from them, because that's just more stuff for me to put onto a stick and hit them harder with, you know. Like I take their little horns, put it onto a stick, and I can hit them harder with their own flesh and bone.
They're really brutal, but they're brutal themselves, so they don't get any quarter. Oh well.
God, Connor, like we both have said so far, this game is a masterpiece. Highly recommend, if you are not playing this game, absolutely play it. If you enjoyed Breath of the Wild, you're going to love this game, and you're gonna join the team that we're on, and that's that. There's no reason to go back and play Breath of the Wild. Just play Tears of the Kingdom. You know, there's no reason.
Well,
besides the fact, it did it first. Who gives a shit?
I don't
Who gives
care.
a shit?
Someone does out there.
Somebody has to. So, I do you have anything else you wanted to add to this? Because I'm pretty confident in. I love how we've been talking about this game, and how I love that this game came out and that it's fucking fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if this game came out and it's not the way it was, I probably would have been disappointed. Like if I didn't feel about it how I feel, and that it is definitively better than Breath of the Wild, I probably would have been disappointed.
Thankfully, you are not, and neither am I. And now my one last point I would say isn't even really about Tears of the Kingdom, but it's a perfect time to say it. Well, Tavin's not here to talk into our ear and say his stupid things.
He is here, but you know.
But it's basically like he's not. I don't see him, don't hear him. He's seen but not heard. Well, he's not any of those things. But at least Tavin, he was respectable enough to come out with an opinion that would, even though it crucified him, is the braver thing. Because to be honest, what's more interesting? Having the same take as everyone else, or having the interesting take, regardless of the quality of it or the correctness of it? It's the matter of saying your opinion regardless of the reasons why. Which
that's not to say Tavin's not being a contrarian. He legitimately just is not a fan of Breath of the Wild. He's not just going against the grain just because everyone else loves it. He's voiced his opinion on it. You can go check out his 2023 Breath of the Wild review. At this point, it would have come out a week. No, when did he put that out? I don't remember when he put that out.
Monday?
Was it about a week ago?
Yeah, I believe.
Okay. Well, yeah. I think that's a pretty good video. We recorded that on the last piggy bank. And yeah, I think he put into words some decent some decent opinions he put into that. I think I understand where he's coming from, and I've always thought that I've never thought that Tavin was a contrarian for the sake of being a contrarian. You know, he's just different, and everyone has their own opinions, and you know, you got to respect it. You know, even though some people are just wrong,
and it happens. Someone's always going to be wrong, and it's just one of those.
At this point, it just happens to be Tavin,
and it'll be me next week.
Often Tavin. And, you know, at some point, you think he would realize that he's just wrong about certain things, and he would eventually realize how wrong he is about most things. But anyway,
oh well.
We digress. Thank you, everybody, so very much for tuning in to this Tears of the Kingdom review. I mean, maybe you were playing Tears of the Kingdom while you were listening to this, while we were gushing about it and talking about our feelings on this game and how much it kicks ass relatively. Connor, do you see any game coming out other than this becoming the game of the year? Because I think this definitively is my game of the year, and I would be hard pressed to see if a game surpasses this on my personal list anyway.
There's definitely room. A big reason for that is because as amazing as it is, and how much of a masterpiece it is built off the foundations of Breath of the Wild and doesn't do much. Like, even though it does things to radically change it, at the core of it, it is the same game. The framework is definitely the same. So on the basis of that, I would say that there's other ones that are new and completely, foreign to me that can come out this year. That can.
Gotcha. So you're framing that as a bad thing.
Not a bad thing. More just like when comparing to other games that come out this year for what might be my definitive game of the year, it might be something else. We'll have to wait and see for what games come out. But
it is only May. We still have several games coming out this year. This is 2023 is I've said this about almost every new release, but it's no longer shaping up to be a banger year. This is a banger year for video games.
It could.
I know Tavin brings up a good point. Spider-Man's coming out, but I don't see Spider-Man surpassing this game for me. It would have to do something I know I love Spider-Man. I loved Miles Morales. I love 2018. I don't know what there's a, in my eyes, Spider-Man is like a known quantity, and if they deliver on what it is, it's gonna be great, and I'm gonna love it. But it's not gonna beat Tears of the Kingdom.
Well, wait until Final Fantasy 16 comes out, and then you'll be eating your words.
There we go. Okay, we'll see. I think the only thing that would have to I might sound like a broken record, and like repeating what other people are saying, but Starfield, that would have to be like a massive, I don't know all that stuff, like everything about Starfield, about like what's going to happen with it, but it would have to blow my fucking socks off.
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
But we'll have to wait and see. That's right, Connor. If you have nothing else, if you have no other further ado, I think I'd say that's a review, baby.
That's a review and a game of the year contender.
Most definitely game of the year contender. And once again, thank you all very much for tuning in to our Tears of the Kingdom review. Hope you're having a great time with the game. Hope you're having half as much fun as we're having with the game. Because even that's a lot of fun.
It is.
But once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.